It was a San Francisco rarity, a brutalist pedestrian bridge, an extension of a modern hotel, a tangible symbol of the city's shifting values. It joined a major park in Chinatown with the Chinese Culture Center. Built in 1971, it served for 51 years before being demolished during the park's renovation. Located on the border between San Francisco's Financial District and Chinatown neighborhoods, the Kearny Street Pedestrian Bridge spanned Kearny Street between Washington and Clay Streets. It was constructed in 1971 as a component of an adjacent high-rise hotel project located at 750 Kearny Street. The bridge connected the hotel building to Portsmouth Square, a public park that was laid out in the earliest days of San Francisco's settlement. The city of San Francisco was originally occupied by the Yalamu, an independent tribe of the Ramaytush Ohlone peoples. In the 1830s, a Mexican-era settlement called Yerba Buena was founded on San Francisco Bay, and a public square, later named Portsmouth Square, was established at its center. The 1848 discovery of gold in the Sierra Nevada foothills caused a population boom in San Francisco. Within a few years, the area around Portsmouth Square became the city's civic, commercial, and social center. Beginning in the 1850s, a Chinese community settled around Portsmouth Square to serve the mining industry. Over the following decades, a vibrant and bustling Chinatown took shape. However, anti-Chinese sentiments were soon voiced by outsiders. Prominent local historian Philip Choi observed,
"In the late 19th century, conflict between employers and laborers dominated the political landscape, with the Chinese caught in the middle as scapegoats. San Francisco was outraged at Chinese labor competition, and took circuitous routes to outlaw, or tax, Chinese businesses.
This resulted in the nationwide Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882, which denied naturalization to Chinese-born immigrants and temporarily halted further immigration. While the presence and influence of the Chinese community in San Francisco grew, these misguided racist sentiments endured. On April 18, 1906, a devastating earthquake shook San Francisco, igniting fires throughout the city that decimated entire neighborhoods and most of the business district. In the aftermath of the disaster, temporary camps for displaced residents were built in many public spaces, including Portsmouth Square, which was also used as a burial ground. Despite resistance from xenophobic city leaders, Chinatown was resurrected in its pre-earthquake location, and Portsmouth Square remained at the center of this cultural enclave. By the early 1950s, the design of Portsmouth Square was perceived as outdated and in need of improvements and amenities that would better serve the neighborhood. The square was redesigned as a terraced park with a playground and public restrooms, and it was constructed above a parking garage intended to serve both Chinatown and downtown businesses. The next major change to Portsmouth Square was one of many official redevelopment agency projects of the 1960s, the construction of a large hotel across Kearny Street on a parcel that was occupied by the old Hall of Justice near the iconic Transamerica Pyramid. It was one of a series of large-scale hotel projects intended to increase San Francisco's tourism amenities. The hotel design was an important collaboration of several significant architects, engineers, and artists, several of whom were members of the Chinese American community. The selection of architects of Chinese ancestry was evidence of the growing cultural and civic influence of Chinatown. Clement Chen was the hotel's lead architect. After emigrating from Shanghai in 1949 to study architecture in the United States, he specialized in designing residential projects. The strong architectural form and bold style of the hotel building at 750 Kearny Street, his first hotel design, is credited with launching Chen's career. The project allocated space on the hotel's third floor for a new Chinese culture center, and a pedestrian bridge was conceived to connect this center with Portsmouth Square. The Chinese Culture Center developer selected artist-architect Chen Chi-Quan to collaborate with Clement Chen on the final design of the pedestrian bridge. Chen Chi-Quan was born in Beijing, then studied, practiced, and taught architecture in the United States. He ultimately settled in Taiwan, where he became Dean of the Architecture program at Tunghai University and began his own architectural practice. By the time he worked with Clement Chen, Chen Chi-Quan had several internationally recognized designs under his belt. The hotel project was hotly contested, and the San Francisco Examiner nicknamed the new bridge the Bridge of 1,000 Controversies. Historian Philip Choi recalled,
During the dedication of the newly completed Holiday Inn, in June 1971, a group of young Asians protested the use of public money to build the 27-story hotel and pedestrian bridge. The group argued that instead of building critically needed low-income housing, the city had built 575 luxurious rooms for tourists to gawk at Chinatown.
When completed, the pedestrian bridge was a visually and functionally prominent component of the new hotel. It physically and symbolically connected the Chinese Culture Center to Portsmouth Square and the Chinatown community. The bridge embodied the financial and civic power attained by Chinese Americans in San Francisco following World War II, who had overcome decades of systemic racism and advocated for recognition and improvements within the Chinatown community, including to Portsmouth Square. The elevated pedestrian bridge, which is a rare property type in San Francisco, was also significant for its architectural design. It was a unique and representative example of brutalist architecture in San Francisco, a style that became popular during the 1960s and 1970s. Notable features of the brutalist bridge include rough, unadorned, poured concrete construction, massive form and heavy cubic shapes, repeating geometric patterns, and strong right angles. As one crossed the bridge, the structure's character-defining features were highly visible. The elaborate Chinese-inspired gate and security gate at the center of Portsmouth Square marked the west end of the bridge. The security gate was added to the western decorative gate in 2003 to control public access to the bridge. Both of these features were later additions to the original bridge. The deck of the bridge was paved with brick. The brick continued up the interior surfaces of the sidewalls, which acted as railings and were angled outward with no openings and capped with smooth concrete. 2 rows of simple concrete benches ran parallel with the railings. From certain angles, the benches appeared to be floating above the bridge deck. Perforated metal light fixtures were spaced at regular intervals along the railing caps. These elaborate lanterns took the form of cuboctahedrons, which are 14-sided polyhedrons with 8 triangular faces and 6 square faces. The original architectural drawings noted that the lanterns were sourced from Taiwan. These elements were salvaged when the bridge was demolished. At the east end of the bridge was an angular platform with access to the second floor of the hotel building. The concrete staircase with brick pavers provided access to the Chinese Cultural Center at the third floor of the hotel building. In 2016, local artist Mick Gaspai installed a colorful mosaic titled Sunrise on the staircase. The stairs led to a smaller platform at the third floor of the hotel with a dedicated entrance to the Chinese Culture Center of San Francisco. The monolithic, reinforced concrete construction was most apparent on the underside of the bridge. The lines created by the wood formwork used during construction were visible and contributed to the character of the bridge. The deck of the bridge was supported by 2 main girders, or horizontal structural members that spanned the length of the deck, and crossbeams, or structural elements that were perpendicular to the girders. The girders rested on pairs of bents, or vertical structural members that were tapered at the base. The east end of the bridge created a porte cochere, or covered driveway, at the first floor of the hotel. Portsmouth Square was again redesigned between 2019 and 2022. The redesigned park called for demolition of the bridge to improve sightlines and public safety. The east end of the bridge was planned to become a cantilevered terrace over the hotel's ground floor entrance. Construction of the redesigned park was anticipated to occur from 2023 to 2025. Like any city, San Francisco evolves. In this case, a bold, brutalist statement from the 1970s made way for a modern park. Portsmouth Square continues to serve Chinatown, and the Kearny Street pedestrian bridge is part of history.